Hey, what's up, Carlos? Finally, we got you on. So, speaking of people who are qualified to handle the subject at hand, we have Carlos. Carlos, if you would pronounce your last name for me, that would be great, because I won't butcher it again.
Sorry, can you repeat that? 1 second. I apologize a little bit. Okay.
So yeah, what's your last name, Carlos? I want to say it, but I don't want to butcher it.
My name is Carlos Cabanelas. It's a Spanish name, of course. I was born in the Netherlands, but both my parents are Spanish. Yeah.
Right. So Carlos, introduce yourself. What got you into the metal packaging industry, and how long you've been working on it, and what the heck is MPT?
I started in the metal packaging industry in the year 2001, right after I graduated from college, and I've been doing it for 18 years now, and to be honest, I always have been wondering how to. I like to make things more effective, more efficient, and to be honest, I was thinking about all of these questions that I have during my years of experience. But blockchain, well, it didn't exist to me. It existed already, but not really in the way that it does today. So when I got to know about blockchain and what it can really achieve, I simply thought of it as as a vehicle, as to implement or execute basically ideas to make things more efficient. I don't think I can put it in any other or formulate it in any other way. Yeah. So in early 2018, I started to work on MPT, and it's been hectic. Talked to a lot of people, done a lot of research, did the white paper, and the first 4 to 5 months, basically, we were actually, the team and myself, trying to choose the best vehicle, so the best blockchain to do it, and we decided that EOS was that, and I'm very happy that I made that decision at that time, because as I heard in previous interviews, the community is amazing, really. Everybody is so helpful. It's very low threshold to talk to people, even very people within the ecosystem. So that's basically it. That's how I got started, Jack.
Speaking of people reaching out to you, Parcel, Parcel reached out to you like kind of just the first few days, right? Like, because like I said before, they're the only other supply blockchain out there. Have you guys worked anything out, or is that like still like a talk in progress?
We are in talks, or we have been in talks, but it's been so hectic. But I remember him asking me that to talk about possibly integrating our smart contracts in some way. We haven't got into details any more than that at this point.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So Zach, do you have any questions for Carlos?
Who are the main users of this platform? So all the different types of people who would kind of be hands-on with it, and how many people are I guess, are they all using the platform actively, or is it more of like a passive thing that's abstracted from them?
This is all going to start basically when we need two things, right? We are early stage at the moment, and we need two major things to make this happen. And that's first the development of a stable working mobile app throughout the world. So it's not an easy task to do. And the other thing, and that's well, that's the biggest financial barrier that we have to face is the manufacturing of the MPT deposit points. And when that happens, the points start to get installed and interact with the app. The target market is every consumer in the world, basically.
Cool.
So,
go ahead.
I didn't actually have something ready.
So one of the really cool things that I think, you know, Carlos' project, for lack of a better word, is pretty strange because it actually involves physical machinery. Can you go into a little bit about that, Carlos?
You want me to describe the functions of the machine?
Yeah. How does the machine come into play, and how does that connect with your token? Like, how does that work?
Let me explain it like that. What the machine will do is it will recognize a metal container, and it will only open up for metal cans or containers. And then when the machine reaches a certain level, the metal gets compacted, right? In between both processes, there is a division process by magnetism. So aluminium, which is not non-magnetic, goes one way, and the magnetic material goes the other way. And then we reach like two baskets where when they get to a certain level, they get compacted, and that's a way of looking at it that I think has not done before. It's basically you're forming a commodity that is going to be used to create basically new prime material. And the token reward system is connected to a certain QR code that is going to be printed on the can, and we have two parallel ways. It's relatively complicated to explain it, but I'll try anyway. It's going to be so brand owners and when I talk about brand owners, I'm talking about Pepsi, Coke, companies that actually own the brand, and they fill the cans with their own product. They, as they own the design, they can make that decision. They can insert a QR code that has certain MPT encryptions embedded, and then they can give a reward depending on the factors that they want, basically.
So the end user has like an app on their phone. They're supposed to scan a QR code on a can. Is that part of this?
Well, the QR code on the can is going to interact with a scanner on the machine, and the tokens are transferred to the wallet on the mobile app of the end consumer. But to be honest, there's also a parallel way which no brand owner is, and I'm very. We thought of this 6 months ago, something like that. And there's also going to be a weight factor included. So this weight factor that will correspond with an X amount of tokens, and will be sent to the person that returns empty cans. That's basically it. And what we don't know, and we cannot imagine the impact that it's going to have. We've done calculations, and if we fill and empty the one machine like six, 7 times, we collect metal scrap that has paid already for the machine.
So does the technology already exist? You're asking basically aluminum manufacturer. So let's use cans as the example. Do they already have technology in place that any new software could integrate with that already scans all the barcodes on there that you could use to scan your QR codes? Or is this something you'd have to provide for them?
No, we are going to provide that for them. We are working currently on all this code and software that is going to be in place when the machines are physically there. We're working on the prototype now, and this involves also exactly what you're mentioning. This part of the software, which is very important, and special thanks to the IIP blockchain, who has done all our smart contracts, and they're also based in the Netherlands and part of the team, of course. And well, they will do that. They will. It's actually quite. It's not that complicated. Myself, I'm not a programmer, so to me, everything in this area is somewhat complicated. But I've been told that it's really not that complicated to do that.
Is there a specific like regional test area that you're targeting for all of this? Or, I mean, it'd be really hard to roll out globally, I would expect. So are you testing it in one country first?
This is going to be depend basically on, at the moment we are, I'm not allowed to say the name. What I can say is that it is an accredited entity funded by the United Nations, and yeah, well, we have officially applied, and these people are going to help us to come up with all the economic models, and et cetera, and this will imply a concessional funding of $10 to $50 million exclusively used for the manufacturing of these machines. But yeah, this fund or NGO will have a very big say in where we are going to do the pilot and what countries or regions will be targeted, because they think, as I do too, that developing countries will have, NPT is going to have a far bigger effect on developing countries than, well, let's say in the developed world. And this is interesting because I wanted to mention that during these conversations that we had with delegates of this NGO, we've basically, well, we concluded that there's going to be a very interesting side effect if MPT is adopted in whatever grade. It's come to my attention. So these people are very educated in this stuff, and a lot of developing countries really don't have any access to, well, let's say the most used fiat currencies. So that's US dollar and euro, and they hardly have any access. So NPT is convertible indirectly into US dollar, for instance. So basically, what we're generating for developing countries to have access to currencies that they do not have access to today, the only thing they have to do is recycle. I don't know if you're following, but it was a very interesting point that was pointed out to me, and it didn't even come from my designer, but yeah. Anyway, this is a very interesting side effect that MPT is going to have. Yeah.
Right, it'd be a global currency, right? Like any cryptocurrency built on top of EOS, you know, it just be global by default. So
is that we're not treating metal as we should be treating metal. We're not doing it. It's not being considered a commodity, and it actually is a commodity, because when you have it separated and compacted, you don't need to extract it from the earth. And that will save you between 85 and 95% of energy and CO2, which is, yeah, incredibly a high amount, as you can imagine. And that will have not, that is, I don't know, an effect on the price, and that is basically what we're targeting, because we from a very extensive research that plastic is being used as a packaging method because of the fact that they're 20 to 30% cheaper. And if we make or reduce that difference, it will have an impact.
Right.
Whoops.
I have one of those too, but I shut the door.
I've got a cat door in my door, so it just it doesn't work. I have to stuff it with pillows and eventually break through. So
yeah,
what's the call to action here? So everyone watching, like, who are you targeting? What do you want people to do who are watching this, who heard about you for the first time? What do you want them to do next?
Okay. Well, I've talked a little bit about, well, worth mentioning is that last week I was in Spain and Portugal for business trips, talking to some industry leaders, and also we did a new partnership with an environmental physics laboratory of the University of Vigo, and they are going to help us with a lot of things that we still need to outroll this in a good manner. Yeah, and another very interesting item that is worth mentioning is that, of course, we're going to have people that have read the white paper. We're going towards a community sale of an amount of tokens, and I cannot stress this enough. There is a 100% buyback guarantee for all purchasers, and the only criterion that needs to be met is that the tokens are not moved from the purchasing account. So basically, it means that if an individual wants to make an investment and you don't touch it for 12 months, if you want to get your money back after 12 months, you will. And this is not me talking. This is a smart contract that is in which this condition is encoded. So this is worth mentioning in this on this platform, I think. It's basically,
so don't speculate it on it or buy off an exchange is basically someone who wants to participate. If they want to limit their risk on this, they would not want to engage with an exchange to purchase any tokens, because if they get it directly from the contract and then they don't move them, there is a potential for a buyback. Is the buyback
it's risk if you do it in that way. That's correct, for 12 months. So if you would buy 1 week before the sale from an exchange, of course, then you don't have that right.
Okay.
But it's only a 4-week community sale.
Okay.
So it's only 4 weeks, and then it stops.
okay, so we only got 5 minutes left. Zach, do you have any more questions?
Not off the top of my head. I'm still browsing the website a little bit, but not.
I see. So, Carlos, do you have anything to add? I don't see any questions from our audience.
What about, I'm seeing, what about in the discussions at ONU? I don't know what it is. Anyway, no, I just wanted to participate in this great event. I've been looking, watching to you guys all day, and I take my hat off for, because this must be energy consuming for you guys as well. Great job, and yeah, let's special thanks to you too. Well, to Jack mainly, that has been well, basically my friend for a couple of months already, and yeah, thanks for all your help, and I'll be here for the next one as well.
You got it. Okay, thank you, Carlos.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
This is not tiring, Zach, right?